Adam, welcome back to the program. It's good to see you. You look comfortable in your plaid shirt here today.
It's very comfortable. I'm going to go chop down a tree in a little bit.
Well, thanks for joining us. Lots to discuss, especially in your world. You used to call, BYU games all the time. Listen, now you're big time, man. It's been fun to see you, catch up with you doing the Bulls games, obviously, as a Chicago guy, and then the NFL and MLB on Fox, USA basketball with Bill Raftery. How you staying busy these days? Seems like a lot's going on.
Yeah, no, it's been good. We've had this nice little fun run with USA basketball the last probably week and a half, and we got another one coming up on Friday with USA and Greece. The Sans Giannis Greece roster as he's kind of recovering from his knee issue, but the U.S. looks good on their run up to the FIBA World Cup, which starts at the end of the month, and then I'm in the midst of Bears preseason games, Chicago Bears NFL preseason games, getting ready for the Colts on Saturday, so that'll be exciting to see a young quarterback in Anthony Richardson. And then I think it's crazy to think that right around the corner we've got Major League Baseball playoffs, maybe a month plus away, and we'll do the stretch run of the regular season before we get set for the American League Division Series. And the NFL starts in, I think it's 3 weeks, or I'm traveling in about 3 weeks for it, so 3.5 weeks away from the start of the NFL season. So it's all coming up fast, and summer's basically over, my friend. So we're getting ready for it.
Yeah, I got one little vacation left, and then we're digging in. But yeah, connections all over the place with BYU, I suppose. Eric Meek on the Selects team, kind of helping that USA team get ready, which has been cool. They tweeted out a nice article yesterday. And then Cougars, obviously, in the pros in the NFL. And let's talk about a couple of those guys that you cover almost week to week, some Cougar in some fashion. Fred Warner's emergence from a 4-9 BYU team a senior year to best middle linebacker in football has been wild. What have you noticed of his development in the NFL to become perhaps the best middle linebacker in the game?
Yeah, I remember talking to Kyle Shanahan about this several times. He's covered a lot of 49er games over the years, and obviously they've been, a very productive NFC team, making some deep playoff runs, getting to the Super Bowl, and not only just what his coach says, not only what Kyle Shanahan has said, but what other coaches, like when we go in for meetings with teams during the week, or we're talking with, the road team at their hotel, or we're talking with them maybe the day before us, or whatever it may be, we're always asking, like, well, what are you guys concerned about? What's the thing that sticks out on the opposite defense or the opposite offense, whatever it may be? And, more often than not, if you're playing San Francisco, line item number one for an offensive coordinator on the other side is where's 54? Where's Fred Warner? We have to keep an eye out for Warner because, like you said, he's developed quickly into one of the top middle linebackers in the game, and it's his vision more than anything else. I think his intelligence and his vision to allow him to get to spots that other players maybe don't get to as quickly. Maybe they don't predict or react the same way that somebody like Fred has over these years. He's the captain of that defense, and they've obviously been one of the more talented defenses in the NFL when you have a Bosa on the front line, when you have talented back end players. But that's a secondary that's been injured a lot over the course of the last 3 or 4 seasons, and yet they've been a productive defense because of what Fred has done, honestly. And he's going to have a little more work to do this year. They lost Azeez Al-Shaair to free agency, and I think to Tennessee, and you lose a couple of pieces, and you're still trying to build up the back end of that defense. But Fred has always been productive, and it's his vision, it's his intelligence, it's how quickly he acclimated to the NFL game, the speed of it. He was ready for it as soon as he came out of BYU, and I think just all those attributes that he's been able to put together over the course of a college career and now into his pro career, they've accumulated into what I think is a really strong inside Mike linebacker skill set, especially in that defense.
The talk of the offseason has obviously been the Jets. Hard Knocks is showcasing that. Aaron Rodgers is probably the best possible free agent quarterback they could get in that situation. And our guy, Zach Wilson, seems to be thriving as the backup. Certainly had his struggles, was thrown into the fire. It's not a place where quarterbacks have typically thrived in the past, unless your name's Joe Namath or whatever. But here Zach is, seeming to have a good time and be learning and be developing, and maybe it's the best case scenario for Zach. How do you kind of see that situation as is for Zach Wilson?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of expectation for starting quarterbacks in the NFL, right? Like the assumption is if you're a number one pick, then you have to be productive. You have to be immediately comfortable with the NFL game. And that's just not the case with everybody. And that's okay. Like, I think we've put a lot of expectations unfairly on young players over the last couple of years. And I understand why, like the capitalism of the NFL has garnered that feeling, right? When you get paid now as much as a lot of these quarterbacks do, when you get, guaranteed money and you're set essentially for life, the expectation is, well, you better do your job and you better do it immediately. And we have that same, I don't know if I'd call it a problem necessarily, but it is an issue. Certainly, I think that issue pops up in the NBA as well. We have very, very high expectations for 19-year-old kids that come out of, 1 year of college. And we have very, very high expectations for 21-year-olds who come out after, maybe only 2 years playing, in college. Maybe they redshirted a year and they only played for a couple seasons. Maybe they were only a starter for one full season in their college days. And I think we have this lofty expectation on a lot of players, and sometimes unfairly. And I'm sure part of it is the New York market, for Zach Wilson. I don't know if we've had those same standards maybe for Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville, because it is a smaller market team and there wasn't a lot expected of Jacksonville. And even though the Jets have struggled for a long time, the expectation is, well, you're the New York Jets, you're in a major market, you're in the biggest market in the country. So the level of play and the level of production is supposed to match that right out of the gate. And I don't know if that's necessarily fair. So for some guys, maybe not having to be thrust into the spotlight right away is a benefit. And obviously having somebody like an Aaron Rodgers, who's been in that position before too. I mean, he had some interesting expectations thrust on him when he was drafted by Green Bay and he was behind Brett Favre. But I think having somebody like that does have the wealth of experience that Rodgers has had, and not just as a player, but as kind of like what's emotionally been put on Aaron Rodgers from the very early days of his career, I think it's a good spot for Zach right now to be able to learn. His future may not be in New York, and that's okay. Sam Darnold had the same issue. Like, his future as the number 1 pick in New York was not meant to be. He ended up getting traded to Carolina. He got moved around a little bit. He's currently, he's currently sitting as a backup right now. So that doesn't necessarily mean you're not a worthy quarterback. You may just have to wait your turn. And I think when you can garner a little bit of wealth of knowledge, that always helps. And I think Geno Smith is probably a great example of it more than anybody else right now in the NFL. What happened to him in Seattle? He was a New York Jet quarterback. He had those same expectations thrust on him. And eventually, after a couple of spots and some years and some knowledge and some wisdom and some scarring, he turned into a viable, solid, very productive NFL quarterback last season. And that the expectation is that's going to be the same thing. So maybe that's what's in the cards for Zach going forward.
We hope so. In New Orleans, we've enjoyed watching Taysom Hill be one of the most unique players in NFL history. I'm sure that's fun for you to prepare for, not knowing where he might show up on the field. And now Jamal Williams, perhaps the greatest personality in the NFL, has joined him. That backfield that was at BYU for several years, which was fun. Do you like anime? Do you like anything as much as Jamal Williams likes anime?
No, Jamal Williams likes anime more than I've loved or liked anything in my life. He has the joy of a child, and I mean that in a very, very positive way. And to bring that to New Orleans, this is a franchise that was very buttoned up, I would say, for the most part, when it was Peyton and Breeze. And I know they had, the bounty scandals and everything about a decade ago. But I mean, for the last 10 years or so, before the Dennis Allen regime started, this was a very kind of standard organization that you just kind of churn out good players, you make the right signings, and you have your franchise quarterback and you try to build around him. And they did, and they were able to make some deep playoff runs and obviously get a Super Bowl out of it. And when all of that changes, it's a really quick, steep learning curve that you have to dive into as a coaching staff and as new players that come in. So, what Derek Carr is dealing with right now, he seemingly is enjoying himself, and he's a great leader to have in there. Taysom, anytime we've gone into, what we were just talking about with Fred, it's a lot of the same, actually. We've done a lot of Saints games, and we've gotten very familiar with Taysom. And I've called games where he's been the starting quarterback. I've called games where he's been what I refer to as the flex guy. That's what I have him as on my spotting chart. Anytime we do a Saints game, I just have him in a backup quarterback slot, but it's labeled as flex. And I just have all of his numbers and all of his snap counts from various positions that he's playing, how many snaps Did he have it receiver or tight end or Y or X or at the fullback position or whatever it may be? We just have those snap counts because he has been one of the more unique talents in the league, and he's been ready for anything. And there's a reason that Sean Payton made sure that he got paid when he was still the head coach in New Orleans. And there's a reason that Dennis Allen still likes to use him. I love that combination, and I love that Jamal Williams has found another home. And he's going to be a very essential piece to what they're trying to do with Derek Carr and trying to solidify an offense that was so good and so productive under Drew Brees and Sean Payton for a long period of time. They've dealt with a lot of injury, a lot of personnel shifting, obviously a new staff, new quarterback. So they're still trying to figure their kind of identity out, but they have so many different directions that they can go in. And I think that's going to be really solid for New Orleans in a division that really is wide open. That's a very wide open division, and Derek Carr is suddenly the most experienced quarterback in that division. So I think having Taysom and having Jamal, two safety blankets in a lot of ways, is going to be really productive for them.
Thanks for the time. Thanks for joining the program. And we need a Valpo BYU men's basketball game at some point, I think, right?
Looking forward to it, man. Hopefully it's sooner rather than later, because we've had a couple of fun ones in these last few years.
Thanks, Adam.